Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Let me know if you can hear me across the various chats going on right now. We have YouTube, X, and Twitch going. Today I can only see the YouTube chat, so if you are chatting on X, I am not able to see it currently. But let me know if you can hear me okay, and we're going to get started in a little less than a minute here. Okay, so it looks like you guys can hear me okay, and gals. Let's go ahead and get the music under control here. And we're going to get started. Hello and welcome to Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is March 22nd, 2024, and this is our meme market analysis on Friday. It is a little bit later than normal, so a few housekeeping notes here. I've been getting a lot of people watching the streams on X, and I really do appreciate you all over there. One of the big things, though, is the streaming quality on X, the compression is really bad, and it makes it difficult to see some of the charts. And I do suggest, until they work some of this out on the back end, they are making a lot of changes and upgrades and stuff like that to the streaming on X, but it's still not where it needs to be. So if you do want a higher quality stream, head on over to YouTube. You can find that in the profile link in my X profile. And if you just want to search it directly on YouTube, it is Landy's Crypto Corner. And you can see that it's live right now. And for those of you that have been joining on Twitch, I really do appreciate you as well. I would funnel you over to the YouTube stream because Twitch is rate limiting me because I am a smaller account. So I don't really know why that is, or if they're trying to push me into paying for something. I don't really know. I haven't really looked. But YouTube's probably going to be the best place to watch live streams if you're looking for higher quality bitrate. Although if you're just on X, you're on your phone, and you just want to listen along, that's fine as well. And the videos will be archived anyway, both on X and on YouTube. So you can always jump over to either one as you wish. Well, we're going to start off with Bitcoin heading back down to retest somewhere around its lows, at least currently. We're going to start out today with a 12-hour chart because we do have a bit of a setup here. Now, this is a counter trade setup that I have discussed with many of you before when it comes to Bollinger Bands. And this is where we get, in this case, expansion to the downside of the Bollinger Bands here. And then a bounce, a nice strong bounce that was not a bounce to fade. And then right back down to retest the around the lows and the lower second standard deviation. So you can see the expansion through the lower second standard deviation into the support structure over here. This was the consolidation prior to the push up to new all-time highs there. That got tested in Tuesday's candle, got the nice bounce coming into Wednesday, got the Thursday drawdown into Friday here. Now retesting the top side of this 12-hour zone here between this closing high and the wick high of that zone. So the closing high is coming in here at around 62.436, 62.5, depending on your exchange. The wick high of that particular move before the sideways consolidation there is coming in at 64.100. Now, when we saw this dip down into the low side of this consolidation, which is coming in at the closing price there of 60, looks like 61. 100. And then the wick low here is coming in at 59,224. So essentially, this is a big monthly zone right here, actually. And we'll throw on the monthly support and resistance as well. But 61,350 to around 58.8 is a big monthly closing all-time high zone from 2021. And it's also where the 12-hour found some nice support on the top side of that monthly zone on a closing basis with a nice big wick into that monthly zone. We did see a dip back in there again, and it does appear as though Bitcoin is going to head back down and retest. So one of my favorite counter trade setups, this is not financial advice. You need to evaluate price if and when it gets there. But an expansion through the lower second standard deviation, pop up to the basis, and then a retest for either a double bottom or a equal low in this case around the lower second standard deviation, which is coming in right at that wick low at around 60,777 even, right in that monthly zone. It could even make a lower low. What I would be on the lookout for is bullish divergences. And we can observe right now for the Stoke, we do have a momentum divergence, and we actually have Stoke pointed up for the moment. That doesn't mean that it's going to stay this way, but we do have a momentum divergence already in for the stochastic. Now, this is a regular Stoke, not a Stoke RSI. So this is measuring close over close price action, not the velocity of RSI. Many people use the Stoke RSI, which is a redundant indicator in my opinion. If you find value in it, keep using it. But if you're already using an RSI, I don't really see a need. It's not giving me personally any more information than I would already get from an RSI, as it's just measuring the velocity of RSI in that case. I prefer a regular Stoke because it measures close over close price momentum. We can see that close over close on the 12-hour, it is down, but the momentum pivot right now is at $62,000. So Stoke is still pointed up. That's probably not going to remain that way through the close today. It's probably going to be somewhere around, especially if Bitcoin is trading in and around the $62,500 or $62,000. Even if it's above the pivot, it's probably going to open the new Saturday candle and 12-hour underneath that 12-hour pivot, because the pivot will continue to rise towards that last lower high that we see on the chart. So let's go ahead and look at that lower high again while I take a sip of water. Give me just a second here. All right, so when looking at the chart here, you can see you might have even caught that bearish divergence that is shown up on RSI from this most recent lower high. So we do have completed trend to the downside. We've got lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high. Is this going to be another lower low? It could be. It may very well turn out that way, but it does have to meet conditions. We do need to see it break down from around 62,436. You can be a little bit more generous. It can close a little bit below there, but I wouldn't want to see, if it does close below there, then it opens up the next area around 61.1 to the actual low. It's over here at 60,777 or 771, and possibly lower down into the upper $59,000 area, or maybe even that monthly that I'm going to show you in a moment here at 58.8 and under. That could end up turning into the 20 to 22% meme pullback that we've been kind of talking about, that has become a meme in the markets. And I'm also going to discuss that if that area does not hold up, you're probably going to see more than a meme. And that is probably, $50,000 to $53,000 thereafter if it begins to close under around 56 to 58. As it stands right now, though, it's not meeting conditions to start looking in those areas. So I want to be very, very clear. The particular setup that I really like that usually leads into the daily is this expansion to retest. So what I would be looking for is either a higher low on the 12-hour or a retest of the lows and lower into that lower second standard deviation, wherever that is. And of course, right now, I would expect on the close open, we're going to see it dip below the low here into this zone, somewhere around the $60,000 to $59,000 range. And that does mean that as long as Bitcoin is closing below the lower first, which is currently at $64,093, so 64.1, If it does lose that 64 436, then I would start to look back at the lows and lower down to the lower second, somewhere around that 60,700 to around $59,000 at this wick low. Now, when you turn on volume for the 12-hour here, you can see that this was a very, very high volume wick. This was coming in on the 5th of March. So this high volume wick is the highest volume that we have seen in, well, quite a long time. So I think the only other bar that was bigger than that was in January on the 13th, and that's all the way back here. This was a rejection at just under $50,000, coming in at 49K. So, it's very likely that we will see a reaction, at least in the lower term timeframes, if it does head down there. But keep in mind that it is a weekend, and without having some of that traditional market liquidity, if it does begin to fall, we may see price push down to some of those larger pullback areas and percentages that we've talked about, 20 to 22% or possibly more. But if it does hold this lower second standard deviation and begin to bounce, what high does it need to get above now? To change structure on the 12-hour and break the downtrend, it either needs to put in a higher low and then take out this last swing high on a close, coming in at 68,234. I would want to see it above around $69,000 still. And we'll discuss this when we turn on support and resistance again. It could also make a lower low or equal low. Where does it need to take out to the upside in terms of getting a trend break and then trying for a trend reversal? Well, that would be, again, right there at that 68,234, take out $69,000. Then I would be looking at the highs and possibly higher again. And higher would be around, $75,000 to $78,000, 78 to 80, and then around 80 to 83 to start. But I'm not totally sold on a breakdown to some of the meme numbers just yet, because Bitcoin has not yet met the criteria for that downside. And the longer it takes for the bears to push this down, the smaller that window gets, to be quite honest. And I'm going to show you why in just a moment as well for that. Let's go ahead and get rid of the 12-hour setup chart here, and we're going to turn on the weekly and monthly supports here. So, the volume is going to mess with me too, so let's get rid of that. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So we had that beautiful dip into the monthly closing zone, which is at 58.8 to 61.350 here. That is from March of 2021 to October of 2021, when the all-time high in April came in just after that March close, and that was at 65. And on October into the November candle, we saw that wick up to $69,000. That was the double top there in 2021. So Bitcoin coming back to retest these supports is not anything crazy. Let's get to the daily actually here so we can get a better view of this. I did want to note on the daily, you can see that Bitcoin did test the lower second standard deviation. We are getting a bit of compression on the bands here, setting up a bit of a range look. You can see that the lower second standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands is coming in right at the top side of that monthly close from October of 2021 at that 61,350 to around 61,4. And would be, again, the area that I'm looking right at for a possible 12-hour retest and bounce. And if it does bounce aggressively from there, that would fulfill my one of my favorite setups in all of markets when it comes to using volatility bands, and that is the retest to bounce. Now the bounce still has to get above, guess where? $69,000 up here at the November 2021 monthly swing high. And, above there, then we can start looking to the highs again. As long as, on the daily, we start seeing it close above 69 and especially above the upper first standard deviation around 70,600. Above there, I'm looking for a run of the highs again, 72 to 74 by the upper second standard deviation. Above there, we would look for expansion up, probably a band replacement or a switcheroo, where we start to see things, price head up towards around $75,000 to $78,000 or so, and start re-expanding to the upside. Now, on the flip side of that, if Bitcoin does begin to break down below the lower second standard deviation, the condition that needs to be met for further downside, would be expansion into the bottom side of this monthly here at 58.8. If it began to lose that area, we would see more aggressive expansion to the downside. And quite frankly, I would be targeting the actual supports down here on the longer term time frames. And you can see that the longer term time frames was the September of 2021 weekly swing high at $53,000 to this weekly zone around 50,000. 500. You can take $50,000 even as well. That's not a bad place to look. But this is very much a viable area if we begin to see Bitcoin get expansion down and also lose that March of 2021 monthly close around 58.8. Could it just dip down there and then come back up? If it does dip down to 56 to 58 under there, but then start closing back in 58.8 in this monthly zone and in and around that 58.8 to 61.350, then that's probably the totality of the move down. Probably looking for at minimum some consolidation and then a move back up. As it stands right now, Bitcoin has not lost that monthly. This is all speculation and conditions that I'm laying out for the possibility of price moving further down. Those conditions need to be met on a daily close, 12-hour close, can be front runnable in this case, and then come back to it later kind of a thing. If we were looking for the average pullback that we've seen since since the lows in 2022 coming into 2023, it's been 20 to 22%. So when looking at that and evaluating, kind of the meme numbers of 20 to 22%, because that has become a pretty big meme, we're looking at 20% being the lower third standard deviation right around this monthly at 58.8. Could it dip lower than that? That's probably $58,000 or so. If you're if we're looking for 22%, we're looking around 57,500. I would give it room on a wick down to like 56K. There's a close open right there as well at $57,000. So, 56 and a half, $57,000. Perfectly viable targets if that monthly is lost at 58.8. But if that's lost on a closing basis and we do see daily expansion to the downside, I'd be looking for a larger correction to minimum go test this area over here, which was the rejection at the weeklies at 53K. And then the bottom side consolidation coming in on those weekly closes between December of 2021 and August of 2021, around 50,800 to 51.8. You can give it some room to 50K, but that would be a much larger correction. We're looking at 28, and then on the bottom side, around 31 to 32% if you're going to take 50 or so. And that is going to be only viable if we do start seeing this monthly zone lost with expansion. So closes below the lower second standard deviation that also lose that monthly at 58.8. And again, to the upside, got to get above 69, take out that upper first at 70,500 to 600, run those highs. Not a guarantee that it would run the highs and get past them at first brush or blush. I don't really know how to say that actually. Trying to be fancy with words, and I'm not a wordsmith. But if we do start seeing Bitcoin close above those highs, we would get expansion to the upside, and that's where we get those 70 to 78, 75 to 78, 78 to 80, and then low $80,000 at least initially, and then come back to it, probably looking mid 80s to 90, so on and so forth, up to 100K, yada, 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 all that good stuff. So something to watch for over the weekend. This is what I'm going to be paying attention to, not just that 12-hour setup, but I will be paying attention to the daily stochastic momentum because, right now, Bitcoin's at a 37 read and 42 read respectively with the K and the D read. Stoke would cross back up on any closes above $68,000 currently. I do expect that to come down a little bit. It may not exactly come down in the next close today into the Saturday candle, but I would watch it over the weekend, especially if Bitcoin begins holding, kind of where it is, especially anywhere around, if it's holding 60K, basically, it's going to begin to run out its momentum to the downside. And then we start looking for a potential turn on momentum. That would be an early indicator, and also that would coincide with likely a bounce off the lower second standard deviation on the 12-hour, thus fulfilling one of my favorite setups. But as it stands right now, it is all pressure down. And it looks bad, and it always looks bad when price is falling until it puts in that higher low, lower low on divergence, and then begins to bounce. And quite frankly, with the lower second standard deviation and the daily getting compression, I am a little bit more biased towards it bouncing at this monthly again, but that's a bias. That's not technical analysis. If it begins at any point to close below that lower second standard deviation, we're looking back into this monthly zone, and if it starts being lost, it's going to meet the conditions for further downside, at least to the meme numbers, 20 to 22%, possibly more, down to 53 to 50K. And on the other side of that, if it does regain 65K, the daily lower first, so lower seconds right at the monthly, top side of this monthly, lower first is right below that $65,000 first all-time high that was put in April of 2021. If it starts to regain that area, I would start to target somewhere in this mid zone between 65 and 69 around the daily basis band, which is coming in at 67,500. If it can start to take out 68 again, though, I would look for a test up to 69. So I would treat it as a range between 65 and 69. Anywhere below 65, I'm looking for that 61 area, 61,350 around the lower second. Anywhere below there, I'm looking 58 to 58.8 or so around that lower third and that bottom side March 2021 monthly closing area. Let's go ahead and jump into some lower term time frames. Seeing as we did start with the setup on the 12-hour, let's get a gauge of kind of where things are on the 4 and 6 hour. Let's go to the 4-hour first. We can see that the lower second standard deviation of the 4-hour is right there at that monthly as well, around 61,200 and 50, 60 or so. So viable area to retest on this particular rundown. Nice downtrend going on the 4-hour here. Now, where is momentum though? Let's take a look at momentum as Bitcoin comes into supports down here. It's actually got quite a bit of room. It's only at a 42 over 50 read, or a 42 under 50 read with the K and the D read. We can see that to turn this back up in this 4-hour candle coming into close today, we're looking at a price of around 66,230 or so to flip that. Now, if Bitcoin does kind of hang out in between supports here and resistance, then I would keep an eye on the 4-hour coming into the weekend, because if the 4-hour begins to get a full-on momentum reset for Stoke and it's still holding the top side of that monthly, well, then we could look at that 12-hour setup as becoming more and more viable around that lower second. So the expansion through the lower second and into the lower third, and then a bounce up to the basis and then retest. Well, we'll start seeing that develop on the 4-hour. 4-hour closes in that 12-hour candle. So we're going to start to then look to that 12-hour candle if the zone holds. So everything here is conditional. I'm not a guy who's going to give you crazy targets to the upside or downside. I'm giving you, the conditional analysis. If things break down, we're taking it level by level to the downside. If things start to break back to the upside, we're taking it level by level to the upside. So Bitcoin has to meet the conditions on the closes for these setups to be viable, both to the downside and the upside. And in this case, it's just kind of hanging out. I know everybody's freaking out, but it's just kind of hanging out. It's not doing a whole lot right now. It is in a downtrend on the timeframes all the way up through a daily. But when you start looking at, 6-hour probably has more room to the downside, to be quite honest. 65, 780. So quite a bit more room to the downside. But you'll notice that the 6-hour pivot is not as far away to the upside as the 4-hour, which is at 66,230. The 6-hour is actually closer at 65,780. So keep all of that in mind as we come into the Friday closure, into the Saturday open, and then throughout the weekend. And especially if it holds this monthly zone as it begins to head down some more for a possible retest. If it doesn't even get there to retest that monthly topside zone in the 61, maybe even dip into the upper 60s or lower 60s, if it doesn't even get there and starts to recover above 65, that would actually be very bullish in my opinion. Again, though, it is a weekend. I would be careful. Weekend price action. The professionals are not playing the game over the weekend, so it's all up to the degenerates in the markets. I do consider myself one of them, and we'll see what we do over the weekend, right? Okay, so we can see all of this bearish divergence that has developed here on the 4 and 6 hour. That is heading back down. I would be watching for bullish divergence on the other side. If you see any lows put in, especially on a close, not a swing, but a closing low on the 4 and 6 hour, will throw bullish divergence as long as they're above around a 33 read on the 6 hour. And we're looking at a 30 read on the 4 hour. As long as Bitcoin is above that area and it does put in a closing low on the 4 and 6 hour, we would see bullish divergence. So that would likely equate to Bitcoin holding the zone. We can actually get a price point for RSI at around a 30 read. We would want to see it above there, so we'll go 31. Let's go ahead. This is a fancy RSI by who did this one? I actually don't remember who did this one. This might be a caretaker RSI. There's other RSIs that you can get divergences on as well. This is a paid indicator though. But I would just look for RSI with divergences. There's plenty of free ones in there. Let's go ahead and edit this though, so we can get a 31 read. We'll pull this to the critical bear zone here. We'll go 31. That puts it above these lows here. And what would the price point be there? 60,500. So it could even make a lower low than the most recent lows, and then throw bullish divergence. And it would actually have to in order to do so. 60,771. Yeah, so it could come down here. It could run that low. If it starts to close back above and put in a low, it's going to get another drive of bearish divergence. So bullish divergence. So we can see that bullish divergence is available to Bitcoin on the 4 and 6 hour. Let's go to the 6 hour real quick and see what the price point would need to be for it to get that bullish divergence. It's a little bit higher, to be fair. So we're looking at about a 30. Yeah, we'll go one tick higher to a 32 to see what that number would be in order to still have an opportunity to throw that bullish divergence. It would need to close above, look at that, $59,000. As long as it's closing above there, which would also, that's the bottom side down here, around $59,000, $58,800 to $59,000. It could very easily tag the bottom side of that zone and still throw bullish divergence. So be very, very aware of that. If you do see price falling into that zone, that bullish divergence, if that zone were to hold up, is very likely going to populate on the 4 and 6 hour. We can even go to a 12 hour and take a look here. We have all the bearish divergence just on the lower term timeframes, but the continuation drive or hidden bear div here is likely to send it down at minimum to the bearish control zone here. If it can make it there, that's around 60,815. If it makes a higher low on RSI and a lower low on price action, starts to actually dip below this guy here, which is coming in at, we'll call this a 36. So it would need to be at minimum a 37. Let's see what that price point would be. We're probably going to find confluence here. We can go ahead and we'll put this back at 20, and we'll just take the bearish control level down, and we'll just read that one. So a 37 is where it would need to bounce at, and what do you know, that's $60,000. So if it were to hold around $60,000, set a higher low, and guess where $60,000 is going to end up at the close today? I bet that's probably going to be this lower second standard deviation. And if it does bounce there and begin to put in a low on the 12 hour at any point over the weekend or even heading into next week, then we would be looking at bullish divergence on the other side of this continuation drive, along with an expansion retest of the lower second right into a zone of support. If it began to turn there, I would be looking for a possible reversal setup. Again, criteria needs to be fulfilled to the upside, at minimum taking out 68,250 or whatever that number was, and then continue on to take out $69,000 up there, which was the prior all-time high. So I hope that is pretty clear in terms of what it is that I'm looking for setups over this weekend. as price action develops. Let's go ahead and fix my RSI, seeing as I just goofed it all up. We'll put that back to a 38. Now it's all fixed. Great. Yeah, and then, of course, I would be watching Stoke again, 12-hour, and then even that 4 and 6 hour over the weekend as well. And relate that 4 and 6 hour to the 12-hour. So if we start to see lows being put in on the 4 and 6 hour, it's probably going to try for lows on the 12-hour. That then could lead into the daily again. And the daily, of course, as a reminder, the lower second standard deviation is right there at that monthly top side on a close there at around 61,350, 61.4 right now. It will move up at the end of today's close, somewhere probably around today's wick low, somewhere around, well, the pivot's already at $62,000. So it is above the lower second standard deviation. Or no, it's $68,000. Sorry, that was the 12-hour. Let me double check. That was the 12-hour, right? Yeah, $62,000. The 12-hour daily is 68. So that's probably going to continue to head down. And I would be well aware of where that pivot falls in the 12-hour over the weekend. So just keep an eye on it. If we do go to something like a weekly, we can see that, one of the meme pullback areas, we'll take off support and resistance here, is in line with the current position of the upper first standard deviation on the weekly. So Bitcoin has been doing those 20 to 22% pullbacks on this entire run up since the lows, the macro low. Man, I was hoping I wouldn't be coughing today, but my apologies for that. We've got around $59,000. We talked about this in some of the areas that could throw bullish divergence. It's right around that monthly zone anyway, at $58,800 to $59,000 on the bottom side there. It's about a 20% pullback, and Bitcoin has been doing about 20 to 22%. And if you happen to pull this down to 22%, oh, hey, look at that. It's just in line with the weekly upper first standard deviation. Go figure. And the upper first standard deviation from a volatility standpoint on the weekly time frame, which is a longer time frame, is typically a good area to see a nice bullish retest. And that is currently coming in at 57,500. So again, I would give it some room if Bitcoin begins to break down from that monthly at 58.8 between 56 and $58,000 below there. If it can recover that 58.8, then you're looking for it to likely bounce back up towards the all-time high zone, 65 to 69. If it does lose it on daily closes, then I would actually be looking down a bit further to the $53,000 to $50,000 region where there is weekly support. That's right here on the wicks, and the close opens down here. So that is this area. Let's get an arrow. Top side at 53, bottom side coming in at around 50,500. You can give it some room to 50K. Now, let's play a little bit of a speculation game here. Let's say Bitcoin just kind of hangs out and goes sideways over the weekend. Maybe it dips down towards the upper first, but doesn't close anywhere below there. Let's just say that happens. What we're likely to see is the basis move up to the bottom side of this weekly. It's currently at 47,487, so basically 47.5. That's right around the top side wick here at 47,700 or so. What was that wick? 49K actually. I would expect the basis to continue its march up to be above this wick, somewhere around it or above it at around that 49 to 50K. So again, we're getting a ton of confluences with some of the things that I was just describing. The other thing that I want to note here on the weekly is that, wherever Bitcoin, the last real low, this was a low. It's not showing it as a low, but this low was in at 38,500. So as long as it's trading on the weekly above 38,500, it's fine. Let's even look at the daily, actually. My bet is there's going to be bullish divergence on the daily whenever this thing does turn. So there is the possibility that it could throw bullish divergence on any closes above this wick low. I think that might actually not be valid anymore. Let's look back here. So the last real low that it was calling was this low coming off of $50,000. So if it puts in a low anywhere above $50,000, you can see that we would get bullish divergence from this area. And guess what? We would actually get bullish divergence from another area as well, no matter where it puts the low in my opinion, because I would not be looking for it to fall as far as I'm going to show you in just a moment. But let's say it puts in a low anywhere above $50,000, it's going to throw a hidden bull div or a continuation drive, if you like, of bullish divergence. But you can see the last where Bitcoin is trading right now, it's already put in a lower low on RSI than this area over here, which is from Sunday, the 4th of February. And that was all the way back here at around $43,000. So, I'm not looking for Bitcoin to fall below $43,000 in terms of price. I mean, even getting down to the bearish control zone right now would only put it at $54,000, right? And you're typically looking for a bounce in and around the bearish control zone after losing the midline, or anywhere in. If it's in like the mid zone like this, it could just bounce here as well. But if it does begin to lose this last RSI low at around 47, it could head for somewhere around the top side of this bearish control zone or the bearish control zone itself. If it was to spike around 56 to 58 or even the monthly, you're likely to see it right in line with a trend line like this that would still throw bullish divergence from this low and this low at 43. So 50K and 43K there. So I'm not really looking for this to fall apart is what I'm trying to tell you. Pullbacks like this, even very large ones, even all the way back to 53K, possibly even a retest of 50. Not too crazy. And Bitcoin has been doing a lot of different stuff than many analysts have expected. And, we were kind of looking for after the double top in 2021 is, market structure is changing long term. So, larger pullbacks do occur even in the middle of bull runs. You should not be scared of it. 99.9% of the time, it's going to offer up more opportunity than not. Do your own research, not financial advice, yada, yada, yada. But again, I want to draw your attention to, excuse me. Wow. It's been a long day. And I just ate before I did the stream, so my apologies. Upper second standard deviation is coming in at $56,000. So that's one of the reasons why you're getting that 56 to 58. If 58.8 is lost, that is an area that I would be looking for wicks. And if it does start to close below 58.8, then we're looking for this to get ran substantially. And hey, look at that. $43,000 is the upper first standard deviation. This is the monthly time frame. Bitcoin is still in an expansive posture. I am looking for this to continue onwards and upwards over time. Just maybe not immediately if Bitcoin does not hold its current monthly all-time high zone between 58.8 and 61,350. So if it does lose that area, then we're looking for a longer form consolidation, probably coming back to it, coming into the halving for some more volatility uptick to the upside after, some, to be fair, some bigger pullbacks on the intermediate timeframes below the monthly and below the weekly. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the Bitcoin analysis today. I do see that there's quite a few people in the chats here, but nobody's really chatting right now. I did want to throw on some music here while I read the chats and to cover for the silence while you're just staring at a chart. We do know how riveting staring at charts is. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's throw some music on here again. Let's see, what are we going to do? Let's go ahead and do Cyberpunk. And get this up. All right, so let's take a look in here. So we've got YouTube. Where's my YouTube chat? There it is. Oh, crap. All right, so... Oh, No Name's here. Hello, sir. Hi, Sam. Hi, No Name. Hi, Bobby. Oh, he says beautiful breakdown on the 12-hour specifically breakdown of price action. I appreciate it. Yeah. Somebody else says, oh, the I appreciate it isn't Bobby. That's on X. Wow, X actually populated chat for me. No worries. Good TA, my man. Cool. Thank you. I don't think you've ever chatted before. For those of you that are in the X chat there, go ahead and follow me if you're not already following me. And if you guys would like, go ahead and share and follow and do all likes and all that great stuff. It does help get the word out. All of my information is free. I don't have any paywalled courses or anything like that. This is done because I enjoy this. I love trading. I love charting. And I like to share my knowledge, at least at this point in my life. So if you do enjoy it, go ahead and share it. Let others know about it. Let's see here. Let's see if I can jump into this X chat. Okay, no, see, it doesn't let me see the historical chat. This is really kind of broken, to be quite honest. Their spaces stuff works really well. Maybe I should do it as a spaces. You guys will have to let me know. Maybe that would actually be better. Or maybe we'll do something dedicated as a spaces, because I know now you can stream video in the spaces. So that would actually be really cool. You'll have to let me know if that's something that you think would be good. And the video quality seemed to be better there for some of the spaces that I was watching than some of the streams that I've been watching on X. So of course, YouTube has a very large lead in stream quality over X, as X is really just getting rolling with this stuff. Yeah. Can we look at alts today? You know, I'll be honest with you. We're gonna do this. Oh, yeah, the 30-second chart has that bearish divergence. Oh no. It's consolidation. If it breaks down below the lows here at the lower second at 62,836, it's probably going to head down to around 62,700 to 800. Below there, you're looking at the tops around 62.5 to 62.6, and then the bottoms down here at 62.5, and then possibly a run of $62,000, maybe even into that monthly again at 61,350 or so. But yes, there's a quick analysis for the 30-second. If it does break out above this high and the upper second standard deviation, you're looking for it to run this little cluster up here around 63,130 to that high side at 63,250. If it gets above there, you can start looking up to around 63,300 to 63,500, and then possibly more if it gets above there around 63,800 to 64K. That's actually a viable trading setup for expansion on the 30-second chart, which I have been doing. Thanks, Bobby. And Torque. Yeah, so we can just go like this. Look, it's a bloodbath all over the place. Bloodbath. I said the word. Oh no. It's a bloodbath in the markets. You know, just like what the other guy meant. But anyway, it is a bloodbath for Bitcoin today too, down almost 2,500. So 2,400, 2,500 bucks. That's pretty red, and it's taking everything else down with it. I don't think it's really worth looking at alts right now, unless you want to make fun of XRP Army for a little bit. I don't think that it's really worth it. Okay, somebody actually said before that, what are my thoughts on XRP? You, sir, I know that you're messing with me because I saw you like the post that I was where I was talking about percentages. Look, if you really want to know, and somebody else commented in that thread. No, I guess we're just gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go for XRP. Sorry, XRP Army. We're gonna have a little bit of fun with you. We're gonna talk a little bit about this just for a moment because it actually does deserve a little bit of context, I think. Let's go out to the monthly time frame real quick. Because this is, I think that some people within the XRP community are delusional, and main reason why. Let's go ahead to CoinMarketCap, and I'll bring that over on the screen here. We'll this is switching from dark charts to white background here is going to kill my eyes and probably yours here. So my apologies ahead of time. Look, it's got 54,884,241,878 coins in circulating supply. The max supply is 100 billion. So, about 56 billion is locked away and managed by Ripple. And this is one of the reasons why the whole lawsuit and the pre-mine and like all that stuff. But something that you need to understand about XRP is at the end of every month, they release about 1 billion XRP into the ecosystem to stabilize it. Well, this is downward pressure, and whatever is not used, as they term it, and the way that they classify used or utility for XRP is not something we're going to get into today. Maybe some other time if people are actually really interested. But what you need to understand about it is that it is it's sent right back to escrow, which means that it's future supply pressure. And there were some comments made on a Credible Crypto post about he highlighted one where somebody had said, "Oh, I'm looking for another 58,000% increase," or something like that, and I had mentioned that, like, a little bit of context, 58,000% increase would put XRP around $370 a coin. From its current position, if you're just to go 58,000, we're looking at from its current trading price or the breakout, it's like $350 to $370 a coin, which is like between 18 and 20 trillion dollars market cap, and that's just not realistic. And that's just with the current circulating supply. They're putting their faith in, like, oh, this is how they're going to do escrow for this forever. Yeah, well, they've also stated that things can change over time, right? So that's just not going to happen. An 18 to 20 trillion dollar market cap isn't going to happen, even if private Western central bankers are going to adopt it. Why? Because then you've got $370 XRP you're using for cross-border settlements and fast settlement on chain of fiat currencies. It actually becomes way more expensive to then use XRP than the current system. So it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. So what would they have to do in that case? Well, they would have to release the other portion of that supply to keep the price down, because then it's more attractive to use, because then it's a better value to transact for settlements, cross-border settlements, and even in-border settlement. And that is it's just unrealistic. So a more realistic thing would be like a 1,500%, or and that's about 1,500%. would put it around $9 to $10. That would be like a 550 to $600 billion market cap. That's not crazy to look for in terms of structure. That's that's around $10. If you want to push it $15, then we're probably looking around 800 billion. But I just don't see XRP getting there. I mean, Bitcoin is at 1.2 trillion right now, and you've got there's going to be a substantial amount of money flooding into the crypto system anyway, and everything, the rising tide will lift all boats kind of a thing, including XRP. But I mean, at this point, with the supply and demand dynamics and I know everybody's looking at the structure and saying, oh, it's going to break out and it's going to go and rip. And I'd be putting a cap on that at around $10, $15 if XRP Army is lucky. I've heard the crazy stuff about the $2,000, and I've made fun of it a lot because that's just insane. Basically, what they're implying is that XRP becomes the entire global settlement system for the entire world, sucking up all $550 trillion that is really actually floating out there. But even at $33 trillion, of monetized debt, plus, pension and locked funds and, all the 550, you wouldn't even get to $2,000 a coin. It's not going to happen. because they would need more coins, and then that means they're releasing the rest of the supply, which is a supply dump, right? And you're just not, it's just not going to get there. It's just not feasible. Is XRP going to rise versus the US dollar? Yes it will. And in fact, I am looking for a nice breakout on XRP. It's got structure to do it, and it's got structure to probably hit around $10 in a nice altcoin bull market, and liquidity rotation into alts. But anything further than that, and I think you're placing your hopes on not technical analysis, and not even math. At that point, you're looking at literal fantasy. Could it run to some of the deeper targets that even I talked about at $10 to $15? I even have my reservations about that, to be quite honest. But it is a technical target between $10 to $15, which would place it between $550, $600 billion market cap to around $800 billion, almost pushing $1 trillion. And I kind of think that you would want to see a lot more excitement around XRP and a lot more announcements and partnerships, and probably a private Western central banking nation adopting XRP as a global settlement system. But even then, you're still probably only looking around $10 to $15 a coin. So yeah, that's my take on that. Bro, I thought you'd go harder on XRP. Look, I there's no reason to. It's going to go up versus the US dollar. It's going to. How much? I mean, at this rate, you're lucky if it gets back to even its last high, around $1.70, $1.75, or whatever it was. But if it does start to break above there, maybe 355 is at its all-time high. If it gets above there, then looking $5, $7, $10. And we're probably looking at other alts running way further, way faster. And it's probably going to maintain its position around 5 to 6 on the market cap chart, right behind Bitcoin, ETH, Tether. We might even see some other new players up in there. Solana's been pushing. What's Solana at? BNB, Solana are neck and neck right now, 80 billion and 75 billion respectively. So I think even in an altcoin bull market and an altcoin or alt season, you're likely to see it move up substantially. But I mean, you got USDC nipping at its heels right now, so good luck. There's only so much money to go around in these markets, at least for the next couple of years, before the Bitcoin reckoning, as it infiltrates the financial system globally, through at first the ETFs, and then beyond. So yeah. Bobby, you're funny. Lol, XRIP, EXRIP. Yeah, it's an inside joke. Yes, I'm a bag holder from before 2017, so I guess I have my stablecoin now. Right? And I talk about XRP and people start unfollowing. Oh no, you know what it is? I had a lot of bots following me, and they're doing bot sweeps. Yeah, I'm looking at that. Yeah, all those people that have like usernames with random numbers after it, they're usually bots, and they're disappearing from my follows, which is good. I want real people following me, not bots. But yeah, if you're a new follower here, appreciate you. Hang out. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you can share something with me that I can learn. I'm a technical analysis guy. I'm a volatility trader first. So I know that some of you guys are here from ordinals communities. That's my degen play for this cycle. Yeah, I already loaded up on alts and I'm trading them here and there. Solana, Ethereum, even trading Link and a few others here and there. Really depends on the setup and me sitting down at the chart, but the real play is in the ordinals markets right now for me. It's my sickness now, and if any of you know Torque and Bobby, you can thank them for my illness. They infected me with the ordinals virus. Yep. Yeah, Loki too. Yeah, if you know him. Cool dude. Yeah. Yeah, go check out his project, NBO, New Bitcoin Order, on Magic Eden, if you haven't already. I know some of you are Nat Monkeys. Another great project, Ordinal Monkey Business. They've got Runanas coming. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. The dev and the team over there are very, very cool. As is NBO. There's a few other really cool ones. Quantum Lights is really cool. They're going to be relaunching their mint. They had some issues with Xverse wallet and stuff like that. So, and they also have a rune play called Light. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I mean, that's not the focus of my channel. My feed does have some of that stuff in it, but it's primarily technical analysis, as that is my wheelhouse. I've been involved in the markets for a very long time, yes. In one way or another, probably, was it 2024? Probably when I first really started like looking into it in a serious way and getting involved in a serious way. Probably around 2003, 2004 timeframe, so about 20 years. When I first moved to the West Coast. Yeah. Yep. Oh, you know me. Oh shit. Oh, I know who you are. Okay, yeah, you actually know me. Oh, you're a friend of mine. Hello, sir. No, I'm not gonna say your name. I got you. Well, it's about time you took a look at one of my streams. Is it because you yeah, the new all-time high, and now it's pulled back? You want to know where to buy? Uh-huh. Well, roll the stream back and you're going to get my opinion on price action and what needs to happen in order to meet more downside and or hold and then try for more upside. Yes. I trust that you're smart enough to figure out what I'm saying. So you can DVR it on YouTube. I don't know if you can on X. Somebody in the chat will have to let me know. I just stream to X and people come and hang out and listen. Now I did find out, so apparently some people can chat on X and others can't. Like some people at Android, I guess, can't actually access the chat on X. Yeah, Emad and Sam were talking about it yesterday when I streamed my recorded video to X, my staring at charts video, which is essentially the same as the video today. This is just an update to many of the things that I talked about in that video, so you can reference that. High quality version is going to be the one that was directly uploaded to X, and of course the one that's on YouTube. The YouTube is Landy's Crypto Corner. It's also linked in my profile on X, so yeah, you can head over there. Yeah, it's going to be higher quality on YouTube, at least for stream. For the directly uploaded video, I did preview it and look into it yesterday after I uploaded it to X, and the quality it matched YouTube for the upload, not the streams though. The streams have been much higher quality, higher bit rate, running through YouTube. Yeah. What is my profile? Oh, my profile. You're gonna ask. This is actually an ordinal. Hold on, let me get it up there. This is by Viola Code. Some of you already know who this is because you're in the NBO server. But friend of NBO and a excellent artist here that has a project up on Magic Eden. The piece, it's part of a piece that she did called Fuck the Fed. Yeah, no, it's I had to have it. Yeah, no, this is never going up for sale. This is mine alone. So that's the piece. It says go back to your alt chain, buy Bitcoin, free Ross, and Bitcoin in the sky, a planet looking thing, and some flowers on fire, city in the background, signature over here, character's cool. Yeah, no, this is a cool piece. That's what that is. She's got other pieces for sale as well. Yeah, she does custom stuff too. Yeah, so if you're into it. No, I have a print coming for this. Yeah, she gave me the 300 DPI file so that I got a basically a poster. It's getting framed and will be sent shortly, I hope. I'd like to hang that one up on the wall. Will I ever do video feed where Oh, you're asking if I'm gonna show my face? No, I'm an anon, and I'm gonna remain that way. There's probably a few people here that know who I am, a few personal friends, but no, there's no need. I'm not looking for name recognition or anything like that. No, man, I'm giving you the inside track. Can't be known. They'll come get me. Can I do trend lines? No, I don't do trend lines. I mean, I do. I mean, if you want a trend line, here's one. Here's a trend line. There you go. Trend lines are what you make them. I lost the trend line, it retested and broke down. Well, we also see that it broke down. Oops. Let's go back. We also see that it broke down below the low here and then got expansion. So this low over here was lost, expansion down into the lower second, come back to retest. It's a downtrend. It's also a 30-second chart, so not a big deal. Can't get into the server. Yeah, I might have to update the link so you can try again later. Because I have a very small Discord server. It is free. The link is posted in the video description. It's also pinned to my X profile. If you wanted to jump in, though, that link expires after 7 days. I thought that it should be in the 7-day window, but because my server has less than 1,000 people, it's not a permanent link. It's not indexed in the community. No. Yeah, so I have to update the link. That might be the issue if you're trying to join the Discord. Cool. All right. Well, look at traditional markets. Yeah, I could look at traditional markets real quick. Sure. Let's just glance at them. Dow 300 points down, huh? What did it hit? Well, it hit the 1414, didn't close above it, so it sold off from it. It's fine above the upper first at 39,282. Below there, we're looking back to the highs around this 888 at 39 to 31, this 786 to 888 around 39 to 39, 141. Basis band's also coming in around that 768. Anywhere above the 618 is fine. If it starts to lose that, it needs to hold the 50% around 38 650 or so. Because below this last higher low, it's changing structure then. But it did hit our primary upside targets. Fell about 111 points short of 40K, but you know, a nice pullback off of it. We had NASDAQ close up. It did make a new high, and you know, around 1845, which is one of the areas we were looking. Sat on the 888, and above the upper first, it's fine. It's just starting expansion. If it comes right back in, you need to see it hold the basis to 618, and that's coming in at 18,078 points, down to the 618 at 17,989. But realistically, anywhere above the 50% of this fib that I have pulled here at around 17,860, and that lower first around 17,900, it's fine. Probably going to march up into the right. 521 was hit. We finally got our 520. Oh no, it didn't hit 525. 524.11, but still take it 5 points at a time. As long as it's above 520, I would look for 525. If it does lose that, then we're looking at 520, possibly 517, 518 down here where this fib pull one spot is. Below there, it's good above the 618 where the basis is, above 513. If it does drop it, you want to see it above this last low down here at around 508. So it's got a wide range that it's still bullish in, even on pullbacks. So looks good. If we were to check something like Coinbase, Coinbase did sell off a bit on the daily. Could it be a double top? Sure. If it does take out 215 to the downside, we're looking for a downtrend to form. Probably going to head back to the lower first, somewhere around 211, to this high over here by the lower second, around 192 to 190, and then come back to it later. Looks fine. Mr. Which is MicroStrategy, we're looking at you know, lower high in play on a swing, definitely. As long as it's above the basis, it's fine at 13.49. If it does lose this wick right here at 12.32, it looks like, then I would be looking for this candle to get ran by the lower first, rather, at around 1060 or so. If it loses that, then we're looking for a substantial drawdown to this high back here at 795 to 770 at the lower second. That's not the first thing I'm looking for with this, but it is pretty critical right now. It's getting another drive bearish divergence. Could that mean that Bitcoin's also going to break the range to the downside? Probably, quite honestly. If MicroStrategy does and Coinbase does, you know, we're probably looking at Bitcoin doing the same. Bitcoin's leading the market, so if it does head down further, you're going to see these head down further. If you see the complete opposite happening on these charts, probably going to see Bitcoin hold up. But Bitcoin's going to be trading over the weekend. These are not, so Bitcoin's going to be more relevant to watch with some of the things that I talked about during the TA portion, and not the chatty chat portion. So roll the stream back and go through that TA, because that is what I'm looking for, with very clear conditional areas to watch. So, yeah. Let's look back here and see what's going on. What do I like for ordinals? I'm not the guy to go to for ordinals alpha, but there's far better people in this space. Far better when evaluating like what's cool, what's hot. I'm not the guy to go to for that. I am 100% a follower in that market, and an art buyer, which art doesn't typically do that well. Memes do better. But I'm buying the art because I like it, and I'm going to keep it. Yeah. Bobby says, I can't chat on X as well. That's weird, because from the iPhone, if I'm in the X app, I can chat. I wonder if chat is only for verified people. I can't change that setting either. So I wonder if they're limiting the ability for you to chat. Like, you can watch if you don't have a verified account, which means that you're paying for the platform. You get your blue check mark, basically. I wonder if that's one of the reasons why people can't chat. That might be what it is, because iPhone users and Android users have reported to me that they cannot chat in the X chat, and it could be that X is limiting that to verified users only. That's not a setting I can change, unfortunately. Now, if you are on YouTube, in order to chat, you do need to subscribe to the channel, but subscribing is free. Am I trying to be the next Crown? I mean, no. Crown is one of the most unique individuals you will ever see in this space. Brilliant guy and great technical analyst, and I'm a long time fan and member of the Cave, so not very active on their Discord, but was there when he first launched his YouTube channel, when he had like no one following him, and it was, man, it was very different, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. But as he's gotten bigger, obviously you got a bigger audience that you got to be aware of, and some of the things that we used to joke about, him included, as being the ringleader of much of it, and then reading some of the things from chat, probably wouldn't fly these days with a channel as big as his, but still freaking first class dude. Like, big fan of him, big fan of the developers that he has for his projects that he has going as well. A lot of great developers: KVDB, Mournfall, Caretaker. There's a couple others as well I know that they partnered up with. It just really good people, and they make just killer indicators as well, like some of the best you'll find in all of TradingView. Yeah, if you want the bands, these are free. It's linked in my description of every video on YouTube, and then it's also on my X profile. It's called Landy Bands. It's a triple Bollinger Band setup, with the volatility levels of the Bollinger Bands painted. So also has a built-in BBWP. Thank you very much, Caretaker, for allowing me to use your code for this, and the moving averages, which are also built into this indicator. If you go here, you can turn off Bollinger Bands, and you can turn on moving averages if you like. This is pretty much a clone of what Caretaker's got for the Caretaker moving average crossover indicator. It's not robust. It doesn't have panels or anything. It's just, in terms of its setup, generally follows what Crown actually has, I believe, or had as default, or Caretaker had as default in that particular indicator. But you can change it EMAs to SMAs. You can change the length. You can have it labeled or unlabeled and all that good stuff. You can turn it on and off globally. The BBWP's in here. I wouldn't adjust any of that, but there's also a super trend in here, which you can change the ATR length and the super trend factor if you like. That's going to be under the style tab. This stuff is going to change though going into the future. There is indicators here as well for trend. Read the description in the indicator. And the only way to get the indicator, it's not publicly searchable in the indicators tab here, but if you were to follow the link, you can just add it to your favorites, and then you'll see it in your favorites. It's free, and it will remain that way. We have some updates coming to it as well. Bitcoin closing below the 21, does give a bias towards the lows, and the 55, which is currently coming in at 58,000. The 50 is there at 57,500. So we have confluence with that weekly upper first on the Bollinger Bands with the 50 and 55 on the daily. We even have the 100 coming in right around the top side of this last consolidation prior to the breakout to new all-time highs. It's currently at 52.5, likely to move up to 53 at the top side here where that resistance was. So, again, you can, no matter which way you approach it, you're going to find confluence. But bands are where it's at. The RSI is a paid indicator. Yeah, you can just search for RSI with divergences. They're all essentially the same. I just really like the developers over there, and yeah, support them if you have the ability to. But there's I know I don't have any affiliation with them, no, other than just being a big fan of their stuff and of Crown and his methodology. It's very, very similar to my own. From the moment that he started streaming, I'm like, this guy had to have been in the industry, and turns out he was. The Stoke indicator is called the BA, B as in boy, A as in asshole, BA reverse Stoke panel. It's the panel version because it's its own separate panel, but it's called the BA reverse Stoke, and it'll have a little pig in there. There is an on-chart version, or there was, but this is free, and it has the pivots, the momentum pivots, and it's a regular Stoke running a 6.314, 255 look back. Yes. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, no problem. Cool stuff. Bobby said he can't chat on X, and he is not verified. So I think it has to do with if you're verified or not. That's probably the mitigating factor there. If you're verified, you can probably chat. I know that Imad is, and I hope I'm saying his name right. I do apologize if I'm saying that wrong. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. And I think he was saying that his brother was sitting next to him and he couldn't chat, but he could. And I think his brother is not verified. So that actually, that pretty much confirms it. You got to be verified to chat. That's an X.com thing. It's not a Landy's settings thing. I mean, shit, I can't even get into the streaming dashboard right now, and I am verified. So I can't even get in there to manage things. That might be user error, I don't know, or they're changing something, I have no idea. Yeah. Monkeys. Yeah, Nat Monkeys. I like that project a lot. That floor came down too, so if people are looking to get into that thing, get some Runanas. I not financial advice, but I plan to go get some more. NBO too, yeah. Great project. Great developer, yep. On both of them, Nat Monkeys, NBO, Quantum Lights, same. Yeah, when ordinals pop and liquidity rotates back in, you know, it's all about runes right now. So, you know, the space in general is down in terms of liquidity, so everything's kind of bleeding. But then you have the hype surrounding the runes in the ordinal space right now. So everything is a rune play, and everything that has rune mining and attached to it in some manner is sucking up all of that liquidity, especially coming on the heels of that OMB launch where they added to their collection and sucked a bunch of liquidity out of the system, or whatever available liquidity was in the system, I should say, kind of going towards that. So a lot of projects are pretty cheap right now, and yeah, it'll come back. Yeah, we're not even close to the end of Bitcoin's cycle, and you know, when liquidity rotation occurs, it's going to occur into alts and ordinals and stuff like that, especially because ordinals are starting to become popular with the ETH kid crowd. Solana, obviously, big into the NFT space. Lots of nice collections of coins and memes and all kinds of shit launching on Solana. I mean, I just trade Solana. I have not dove deep into their ecosystem for coins and NFTs and stuff now. Yes, I'm aware that Magic Eden does a lot on Solana's chain. I'm well aware, yeah. I've just missed the boat. I'm too late to most of it, so it's not. I'm just going to focus on the things that I understand and that I'm familiar with, you know, until I have the time to branch out and take a look at some of that other stuff. DMT overloaded the space. Yes, all the DMT projects have the space in ordinals is suffering from DMT fatigue. I believe somebody in my server actually said exactly that as well, but it's 100% accurate. Just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mints for DMT projects. And it's like, man, 99.99% of them are putting up deployment contracts for mints on DMTs or utilizing the framework for DMT. And they don't even know how to get it on Eden. They have no artists. They got no plan. And they're just flying by the seat of their pants. And 99% of it's going to fail. So the projects that actually have art, that actually have a team that's active and prepared and ready to go, that's going to be, those are going to be the projects that are going to last a while. Most of the other stuff is just going to be a blip and then gone. Yep. DMT stuff is free mints, so I mean, there's really not much of an incentive unless the developer minted out so that they can at least make some money on it. And a lot didn't. They're just deploying and going, oh, it minted out and I had no idea. I was asleep, or wow, that was fast. Now what do I do? And it's like, oh man, okay. But then there's teams that have developers, have people that understand what they're ready to do, and they've got art in the pipeline, and they had a plan for when they launched, and maybe it caught them by surprise for how fast it minted, but are moving forward at a good pace to get art out there and traits and attributes, and a lot of them moving into runes and other things as well. And that's all good. Those are the projects that are going to last. Nat Monkeys is one. I think that there's good art coming to Nat Dragons and a few others. There's obviously the whole Nat Cats thing that kicked it all off. There's Chaos, which is a art-focused project, but also very cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. But by and large, when you look at the totality of how many mints are constantly hitting the market and minting out versus, what is an actual project that's being developed, only a very, very, very small percentage of them are actually in active development. Most of it is just like, whoa, that contract that I was just testing that literally said test, do not mint, and then people minted it out anyway. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah. Bobby, if you're in the Discord, Bobby and Torque shared with me a link for charting ordinals, because right now there is a service that does it, but it's a paid service. But at least there's some incentive or some kind of trial period where you can go and do it. If it is something, I'll check it out, and if it is something that is worth looking into, yes, technical analysis can be done on ordinals or NFTs or whatever the hell you can think of. As long as there is a candlestick chart that can show volume, you can perform technical analysis. It's all about the candlestick and the volume, because that's going to tell you everything you need to know. The candlestick has the open, the high, so the open, the high, the low, and the close. So your OHLC, and as long as it's printing over a long enough period of time, the project's been out there for at least a little bit, and then you can gauge volume, you can do technical analysis on it. So I'll look into it. It's not going to be the focus of my streams or my recordings, though. My focus is on Bitcoin. And even markets, traditional markets, I don't look at as often. I think Bitcoin is far and away the thing that I want to be focused on right now, for myself and for my community, and for teaching the art of volatility analysis. Less of a focus. Bitcoin's chart is going to tell you everything you need to know. I don't need to look elsewhere in the market to understand what's going on. And the chart comes before the narratives. Just understand that. The news that you read or watch, all of that stuff, no matter what it is that you're looking at, go look up its chart. You can predict that there will be some sort of news well before it happens. So yeah. Well, I think that is going to do it for me today, though, guys. If you are arriving to the stream late, I do suggest that you rewind it and watch the technical analysis portion. It is very, very important. Bitcoin is on the clock right now. Bears are on the clock, to be quite honest, but they do have the advantage right now over bulls at the moment. Again, that 12-hour setup is the one that I'm going to be evaluating right into the monthly support, and that lower second right at the low. If it passes it, even doesn't matter. I'm looking for that setup, which I described in the right at the outset of the stream. So you can DVR it back on YouTube. I believe you should be able to do it on X, but the quality, like I said, of the stream is not going to be great. You should probably go watch it on YouTube. That way you can see the actual chart. You can see the numbers over here on the price scale, where the bands line up, so that you can verify if I misspoke or not about the numbers. You know, you can see the bands themselves, and you can read the text and stuff like that. Whereas on X, it's almost impossible when I went back and reviewed it. And because this is a stream only, it's not a recording, you're not going to get the native file uploaded to X, so it's just going to be on YouTube. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today. You have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I really do appreciate every one of you that chose to hang out with me this afternoon, West Coast time, or this evening, wherever you are. No matter what time it is, I do appreciate that you took the time to hang out with me today. I will be back over the weekend only with a recorded video if something significant happens, meaning a breakdown below 58.8 on a 12-hour daily or something like that. Or if we do see the high on the 12-hour taken out around 68 and possibly 69 taken out. If we see something like that, I will have a recorded video. Otherwise, I'll be back on Monday with a live stream, with a Macro Mondays live stream. We'll take a look at the longer term time frames. We'll look at the weekly close. We'll look at probably the 5-day, 4-day, 3-day, 2-day. Excuse me, in addition to the daily. So come join me on Monday. And yeah, have a great weekend. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. I will leave the stream up for about 15 minutes for those that like to chart and listen to some tunes. What do we got here? So we've been streaming about an hour and a half. So this will be, we'll go to 1600. I think that's the right time. Right, let's look. Yes, so about 13 minutes. I'll leave the stream up. You can listen to some tunes if you like while you're doing your charting, reviewing what we talked about. But yeah, have a great weekend. With all of that said, Landy out.